Well, it's always a pleasure to have the former mayor of New York City, Rudy Giuliani, on the couch. I know he was here yesterday, but there's stuff in the news that has so infuriated
I'm fired up this morning about at least three subjects.
Okay, let's start with one. We saw the video of Hillary Clinton at her rally. You see Sadiq Mateen sitting behind her. That is Omar Mateen, the guy who killed 49 people in Florida in that nightclub down in Orlando. This happened an hour away from that. He's sitting behind her. What was your reaction?
Well, I mean, can you imagine what the reaction would be if you were the father, the mother, the brother, the friend of one of the people that was killed or wounded, seeing that man sitting there so enthusiastically supporting Hillary Clinton? First of all, we don't know who invited him and put him in that prime position. Now, I've been involved in a lot of campaigns, including my own. You don't get into that prime position without
somebody in that chair.
And the campaign, which is the least transparent campaign in history, meaning they hide things all the time, should tell us who put them there. Secondly, here's a bigger question. What attracts him so much to Hillary Clinton? This guy's been going around and there's a picture of him carrying a sign about Hillary Clinton being, what attracts a terrorist, which is what he is? This guy supported the Taliban. This guy was on radio saying terrible anti-American things. This is a guy who said that God should punish homosexuals. This is a guy who was a radical Islamic terrorist himself. And his son, of course, was a radical Islamic terrorist, mass murderer, the worst in American history. What attracts him to Hillary Clinton?
Well, apparently he talked to a local TV reporter down there, said he was a Democrat, showed up because the Democrat Party, everybody's involved. His son was a registered Democrat as well.
Very troubling that he is so attracted and so enthusiastic.
And there's the sign he held up.
There you go. I mean, this is enormously troubling to me that a man that has these radical views... and
that sign says good gun control laws.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Down at the bottom.
Yeah. I mean, gun control.
Giuliani considering her his son.
So I think everyone at home should sit back and say, what attracts this man to Hillary Clinton? What is it? What is she doing? I don't know what attracts it to her. It's her soft position on Islamic extremist terrorism. It's all the president never saying it, her being forced to kind of say it because Donald Trump criticized it so much. All of the things she's done in which they indicate that they are not handling Islamic extremist terrorism with the strength and with the fight back that we should have as a country trying to protect itself.
Well, when a reporter asked her about it, this is what she said.
Secretary Clinton, should your campaign have known that Omar Mateen's father was at your campaign rally yesterday?
Thanks, folks.
Secretary Clinton, do you have time for a question? Thank you all very much.
She said, thank you all very much.
That's her answer. That's her answer to a terrorist himself, father of a terrorist slaughterer, being at her rally, supporting her so enthusiastically. Her answer is, thank you. This is a woman who is hiding. It's a woman who's running away. It's a woman who should have been indicted several months ago. And with the recent revelations, why the FBI didn't investigate all of these connections between the Clinton Foundation and the State Department is a real open question that puts a great deal of doubt on the credibility of that report by the FBI.
Surely.
I mean, you have, without doubt now, you have tapes that they were hiding that shows that millions of dollars were given the Clinton Foundation and the State Department did favors for those people that they knew had given millions of dollars. That is a direct violation of 18 United States Code, Section 209. That's called illegal. It's called criminal. And I will tell you this. If I were back in my old job with the U.S. Attorney, we'd begin a RICO investigation, racketeering, influence, corrupt organization, which is what I believe the Clinton Foundation is. Well, if we have a Justice Department that treats everyone equally, it should happen. You've got the Chaduri situation, the guy who wanted to meet with the Lebanese ambassador.
Oh, that's right.
Do you know that guy was convicted of money laundering? The guy is convicted money laundering.
Look, he gave
the guy is a convicted
Gilbert Shaguri.
Shaguri. He is a convicted money launderer.
He gave $1 billion to the Clinton Family Foundation.
Okay,
Pledged it.
And he got a favor from the State Department.
Yeah.
So that's
why this is the cover of the New York Post.
That's classic.
Sells out the U.S.
That's classic pay to play. That's conflict of interest in violation of the law, illegal. And I say it's count one in a possible racketeering indictment.
All right. The other story that you were really riled up about is, and you were traveling with Donald Trump yesterday, he made some comments. He was, he was just talking about things on his mind. One of them, the Second Amendment, he made some ambiguous comments, but the mainstream media has jumped down his throat. We're going to play the comment and then what he has to say about it from Hannity last night. Listen to this.
He wants to essentially abolish the Second Amendment. By the way, and if she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know. But I'll tell you what, that will be a horrible day. Nobody in that room thought anything other than what you just said. This is a political movement. This is a strong, powerful movement, the Second Amendment. Hillary wants to take your guns away, and there can be no other interpretation. Even reporters have told me, give me a break.
Rudy, well, to many, they seem like ambiguous comments. To some media elites, clearly what he was saying was Second Amendment people should shoot Hillary Clinton.
That's such nonsense. Here's what happened. First of all, I was with him. I was at the speech. I introduced him. I heard it. We drove for a half hour to the airplane. We got on the airplane. Nobody had any idea that any such suggestion was made. When he first heard it, he was shocked. I can't even tell you the word that he used. It begins with a B. That's ridiculous that I suggested that. What his immediate response was, what I was saying is obviously what he was saying. Vote against it. And you got a lot of power.
He was saying voters, not violence.
Yes, he was saying vote. You are a very powerful organization. You can vote against it. If he had time to spell it out, you could say they could be the turning point in Ohio, in Pennsylvania, in a lot of these swing states. You got a lot of NRA members. That's what he was saying. That's what he intended to say. There were no words of violence used. Believe me, if he had said something like that, that crowd would have had a much different reaction.
Right. You can always tell by the crowd's reaction.
And here's what happened. I'm going to tell you about the inside of a presidential campaign, and particularly the Clintons. The Clinton spin machine picked that up in about 3 or 4 minutes. They put that interpretation on it, and they got their paid for, I don't know if they're paid for or whatever they are, their acolytes in the media to put that spin on it. And
4 times more coverage of this than the Sadiq Mateen story.
And now they're saying, this puts candidates in jeopardy. You know who's putting candidates in jeopardy? The Clinton spin machine.
Well, let me ask you.
They take words that contain no words of violence. You can't find a word of violence in there.
They're ambiguous.
I don't think it's ambiguous.
You know what, to hear you say this, that's huge because you were there and it's nice to hear how he found out the news 30 minutes later or whatever. But let me ask you this, has the mainstream media contacted you? Because they should be talking to you to hear exactly.
No, look, the Clinton spin machine put it out immediately.
Right.
And they know the 10, 12 reporters to go to. The 10, 12 reporters were on top of the Trump campaign within a half hour with this interpretation.
Donald
Trump's original reaction is, what? This is what I meant. I just gave you the explanation. I meant vote against her. And I meant vote against her. And boy, that could be critical in some of these swing states. That's exactly what he meant. And now they want to make it into this violence thing. They're the ones injecting violence into it. He said, no, you can't find a word of violence. And another thing, you can't have it both ways. One of the things that he gets criticized for is being too direct. Donald Trump is not indirect.
He says what he means.
If Donald Trump wanted to say that, believe me, nobody in the world would stop him from saying it. But of course he isn't going to say it. He doesn't mean it. He isn't that kind of man. And what this is part of their process of trying to demonize him. And it's the only way they can demonize him because they have a criminal on the top of their ticket. Somebody who should have been indicted 2 months ago and now should be indicted for pay-to-play State Department.
Yeah, but Rudy, if they talk about what Donald Trump said regarding the Second Amendment, they don't have to talk about this.
You don't see this on the front pages of the New York Times.
No.
No, it's okay to pay billions, millions, and get favors from the State Department, according to the New York Times. And Donald Trump is the problem. The problem here is we have a candidate for president of the United States who should right now be sitting with a criminal defense lawyer, getting ready to go to trial.
Yeah. All right. Well, I actually don't know what's on the cover of the New York Times because I don't read it.
Well, I look at the cover, and this is not on the cover of the New York Times, I assure you.
Rudy Giuliani joining us for a second day in a row. We'll be back tomorrow.
Who knows?
Okay.
Depends on what happens the rest of the day.
I think this campaign has about 50 more chapters.
I think you're
Thank
probably
you
right
so
about that.
much. Great to see you.
All right, thank you,
Thanks,
Rudy.
sir.
Meanwhile, call it the Summer of Terror. 14 major terrorist attacks across the globe so far this summer. What can we do to stop the attacks, and why are some lawmakers standing in the way? That is next with Sebastian Gorka.
And a high school football coach fired for praying on the field, now taking his fight for faith to a whole new level. We're going to explain that.
Don't you